We've done some national polling. Only about 25% of voters support the newest bill. About 50% oppose it, and then about 25% don't have an opinion one way or the other just because it's new and they haven't really processed it. But some of the sub-issues we asked about, people think that the new bill will result in fewer people getting covered. They think it will result in costs increasing. They think that it'll make it harder for people to get their pre-existing conditions taken care of. So I think basically the point that we're at is that the first Republican health care bill in the spring basically lost Republicans' credibility on the issue, and they can roll out as many more of these health care plans as they want to. But at this point, voters are just sort of tuning them out. It's like they do not trust Republicans on health care. And one thing I think has been fascinating in our polling over the course of this year is how much more popular Obamacare has gotten. It used to be something that we consistently found voters opposed by 10 or 15 points. Now we tend to find that voters support it by 5 or 10 points, and that's a big change in the landscape.
Do you think that will be a defining issue in the 2018 election?
I think it will. I think for Democrats, it's their most effective issue because so many of the things that are controversial in the country right now, you just see Democrats reflexively line up behind the Democratic position, Republicans reflexively line up behind the Trump position, and there's no sort of overlap. But health care is a rare issue where there actually is some overlap. There's a lot of people who voted for Trump, a lot of traditional Republican voters who really don't like what's being done on healthcare in Washington. So it's a situation where Democrats might only be able to pick off 5 or 10% of Trump's voters using that issue, but it's more effective than trying to pick them off with something like Russia, that kind of thing. And when you really think about the landscape for 2018, if everybody who voted Democratic last year still votes Democratic, and then Democrats can just pick off 5% of Trump voters, that becomes a big Democratic victory. You really don't have to get that many, especially when you couple that sort of dynamic with the fact that Democrats are more enthusiastic about voting next year than Republicans are, which is a pretty unusual dynamic to have in a midterm.
Yeah. And the last question about healthcare, and then I'm going to finish up, is I guess I've seen some national polls that not only people support the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, but overwhelmingly they want the Republicans to work with Democrats to fix the problems it has.
Absolutely. When we ask the question, would you rather get rid of Obamacare or keep it and sort of make fixes to it as necessary, it's 2-to-1 support for keeping Obamacare and making fixes as necessary. Only about a third of voters think that the best path forward is just to completely do away with Obamacare. So we definitely see that independents want to see Democrats and Republicans work together to keep what we have and make it better. And even about a third of Republicans think that that's the best thing to do.